Hello, I'm Devin. Welcome to my YouTube channel, where I talk about analog productivity methods in a digitally saturated workplace. And today, I want to talk about the bullet journal. Specifically, I want to look at if I were to take everything I learned from a bullet journal and build it into an Everbook format, how would I do that? And I'd like to demonstrate that I'm somewhat qualified to speak on the subject. Here are my 17 bullet journals going back to 2017. So I've done my time, and let me tell you, I have loved much of my bullet journal experience. This walked into my life, I'm sure as it has for many people, at a time where I really needed something to help me break away from trying to do everything on a computer all the time. And this was so helpful. But today, I've been using my Everbook for all of my productivity, and I'd like to share with you, if you love the bullet journal format, but you're running into the same kind of challenges that I had, and you want to try something a little different, well, let me walk you through. So, the first thing you're going to need is an Everbook cover. All the Everbook stuff that you'll need, starting with the cover. Let's open this up. Inside of this Everbook, I have 4 bundles. Actually, I have 5 bundles, but only 4 of them are going to take our attention. Daily, monthly and future, projects, reference, and blank pages. This is just a spot, as you guessed it, blank pieces of paper for when I need them. We'll set this aside for now. We'll begin with daily. Daily log. This is the equivalent of the daily log. Think of it as your daily driver. And in it, we have 1 page for every day. So I've got Monday, February 23rd, Tuesday, February 24th, Wednesday, February 25th. And this is where you would keep a daily log, or you would do your rapid logging on a given day. Monday morning it starts up. I might, write down what's on my mind, get it all unloaded, take stock of any tasks, etc., etc. But it's also useful because in Everbook, you can park pages in the future and not worry about that you're stuck in a particular order because they're bound. They're not bound. I can move these around as I like. So I can make one for the next day. It doesn't really take away from the page I've already assigned for today. In this case, I might think of a task. I go, oh yeah, that's cool, but I don't need to think about that until Tuesday. I can just come up to Tuesday and write it on here. And now it's waiting for me for when I get to Tuesday. Another thing you might do, because you're in an Everbook format, is, let's say on Monday, I have an important meeting. I don't know if you can read that because it's too small. My handwriting is not great. I've got an important meeting, and I went ahead and grabbed a blank sheet of paper, a sales kickoff meeting, and I made a page where I'm going to take notes for that meeting. Or maybe here today, before the meeting, I can write down some thoughts, some questions I want to ask, the people who are going to be there, whatever information I might want present at the meeting, I can just have it here, and then on the day of the meeting, I can take my notes on this. That'll be great. That saves me a lot of hassle. I don't need to flip around. My stuff's already ready for me. So that would be your daily log. And let's say, what do you do? So you've got 1 piece of paper, and let's say you fill it all the way up. Well then, what happens? You flip it over, and you keep logging, and you fill this one up too. What are you going to do? Well, here's what I like to do. I just grab a fresh sheet of paper, and in my stack of papers, I'm just going to slide this one in behind it. I will label it and number these so I recognize that they go together, and I will just continue my daily log as though nothing happened. I can't do that inside of a notebook because the notebook is already bound. But with an Everbook, I can just slide papers in wherever I need them, label them correctly so I know where they belong, and just keep going about my day. Boom. That's the first bundle if you wanted to try this. Next, monthly and future. There are two. We'll see that these two are broken into separate ways of organizing them. First, we've got one sheet of paper for every month. And I just wrote the labels on these, but you could lay this out however you wanted. You could, if you wanted, use a full sheet of paper, fold it in half so that you had a spread, just like you can have a spread inside of a notebook. You could do that here too. In my case, though, what I've done is I went ahead and just like in the daily log, I made sheets for future days. I have also made sheets for future months. And in this case, I think I did the end of this quarter and the next quarter. So I've got about 5 months of sheets here. So I can plan ahead of things that are in my future. I've got a place to park them. So it's kind of like a monthly log and also a future log, but not everything in the future. You can see we get to May. Then I have a folder. So just a review from an Everbook. This top level is called a bundle. And inside the bundle we have sheets and we have folders, which are also full of sheets. So inside of this is my true future log for long-term stuff that I don't have a monthly sheet for yet. And on this one, what I've done is I've just done by quarter. So this sheet is quarter 3, 2026, and then quarter 4, and then all 4 quarters of 2027. So I've got 6 sheets of paper inside of here. And 2 benefits. Now, this is so cool. Guys, I love this so much. Let's say I'm working on quarter 3, and July is crazy. For whatever reason, July is just filling up. And so what I do, maybe I flip over the page, and I write July continued, and I keep writing, but then I fill up the whole page. What am I gonna do? You know exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get just a fresh piece of paper. I'm gonna write Q3 2026 part 2. And maybe up here I'll say part 1. And down here I might say July continued. So I recognize that there's other stuff about July on the previous. And then I can just keep adding details about July. And then it can all live in my future log. It's waiting for me when I get there. Sweet. Now, one other benefit. I thought of this as I was writing these out. Let's say someone reminds me, hey, don't forget, you were voted class president in high school, and we are going to be celebrating our 30-year reunion in 2030. And you need to not lose track of that. Well, right now that's a problem because my future log only goes to 2027. Typically, if I was in a bullet journal, I would put that thing is so far in the future, I would probably just put it in my digital a digital calendar. But because an Everbook, I can put pages wherever I want, what I can do is write, what might I do? I might just go, Q1 2030. And under January, I'm going to write something of like, begin planning reunion. Boom. And now, in my future log, I can just slide that in as the last page. And I will put other future log pages between it as I need to. Sweet. Awesome. That can just be parked there. I will never migrate it. Right? That is the most frustrating thing for me has been when I fill up one notebook, I have this whole project of migrating information to the new one. But with the Everbook, I don't need to do that. It's just going to live in this bundle until I move it. That's great. So that's how I would do a future log. Trying to work out an Everbook situation here. Boom. That was bundle number 2. Monthly and future. Now you've got your collections in a bullet journal. And there are innumerable different ways you could approach collections, but I've chosen two. I think it's fair to say there are two types of collections. There are collections that are actually projects where there's something that you're going to do with the information, and there's a finish line or a done date of some kind. And then that information will be irrelevant, and you'll move it out of the Everbook to live somewhere else. Or there's reference information, stuff that you're always going to need this info in front of you. You would, if you were doing bullet journal, this is the stuff that would migrate from one notebook to the next notebook when that came. So I've broken it down. Let's look at projects first. There are two types of projects. You could say there's many, but there's two. There's simple projects and complex projects. So first, let's say I have a simple project here. All I need inside this bundle is one sheet of paper for this project. In this case, I called it the quarterly review presentation. It's a work project. It's not that complex. I have to make a PowerPoint presentation. This is just somewhere I can note down the steps, keep track of where I am on it, draw myself some pictures of what I want the slides to go, whatever. Boom. This is going to be useful to me until it's over. And then I might put this somewhere else where it can live long term. I might throw it away. I don't know. But it's a simple project. Then we might have a complex project. And here we have a folder, in which case I have more sheets inside. And I've done family vacation. And so I've got one sheet. Place I'm going to record stops along our route, because we're road tripping for this vacation. The next one, resort information. I need this for the stay. I don't need it after the vacation, but here we go. Beaches that I'd like to visit, and local restaurants that we'd like to eat at. Here, I'm just gonna, this is a great place, collect all that data, woohoo, and then when it's done, I can put it away. Maybe, maybe it's an annual vacation. And so what happens is, I plan it for this year, but afterwards, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna take local restaurants, and I'm gonna take beaches to visit, maybe, and I'm just gonna move those into my 2027 bundle or folder when I plan it for the next year, because they're loose pages. I don't need to rewrite anything into a future notebook. I can just move these pages to where they belong. That's what I love about Everbook. Man, so much flexibility. Just gotta label things correctly. So that's one type of collection. And then the other type of collection, the reference. And here I've got, again, there's a simple reference and complex reference. Simple one might be household chore assignments. I've got a bunch of kids at my house. Maybe you do too. I've got a bunch of work that needs to be done, and I might want one sheet of paper that I can just write down when we all sit down and decide who's going to do what. Record it here, refer to it when I need to. Great. Now I might have a complex folder in my reference bundle called family members, where, listen, I got kids with favorite colors, I got kids with favorite ice cream flavors, I got kids that are allergic to stuff, I got kids that, whatever. I just got information about my family that I need to make sure I don't lose track of. And so what I might do is I've just got a page for different members of my family. So stuff for my wife. Probably put our anniversary date on here. What type of flowers she likes. What kind of chocolate she does and doesn't like. Whatever, just so I don't get that wrong. Ever. Because husbands never get that stuff wrong. And then I might have a sheet for each kid. I've heard, one story I heard is a woman who she had in the very back of her, she was doing a bullet journal inside, I think, a Leuchtturm notebook, and the final few pages are perforated, so you can tear them out. And what she did is she had written down information about her son's allergies and the medications that he was on. She had originally written it down just for her own reference. But what happened was he had an allergic reaction to something, and an ambulance had to come pick him up. And they were asking all these complex questions, and one of the things she did was she opened up that last page, tore it out of her notebook, and handed it to the paramedics. And they took it, and they were like, this is great. They closed up the ambulance and drove off, and she followed them to the hospital. I hope none of you have to do that. But there you go. You've got these loose leaf pages so that you can rearrange, hand them off, do whatever you need to do. It's great. So there you go. If you love the bullet journal system, I mean, I love the bullet journal system. I really do. It has done a lot of good in my life. But this would be a way you could give it a try inside of an Everbook with using four bundles, essentially. Somewhere to keep your blank pages, and that could be a really cool experience if you wanted to give it a shot. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope there are a lot of folks out there that end up trying out an Everbook. I have loved it. It has both revolutionized my productivity and given me huge clarity of mind. And I think it will for you too. So, boom. Take care.